Columbia State Community College where he got his AA in '89 and got his BS from Lipscomb with a major in accounting in '91. Greg is a CPA in financial leadership positions and is now a software and business process improvement consultant. He has many kids he's proud of, and 6 kids. And he lives in Massachusetts. Shane is in the class of '86. And he was the former vice president of the SGA. He said he was in the track team. Shane's favorite subject was history. He went on to Vanderbilt University where he received his political science major in 1990. And he is presently looking out for all of our interests in the Nashville community as he is a sergeant on the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. So you guys take the mic and you have 10 minutes between the two of you.
Mine'll be pretty easy. I didn't prepare anything. I feel bad because I'm at a school where you should always be prepared. First of all, I'm going to get any cop jokes out of the way because I have a good one to tell, I guess. I have 3 things I just want to talk about. They're pretty brief because everybody here has done a tremendous job. The first thing I wanted to tell about is at Hume-Fogg I had 3 things I remembered that were very important to me. One was, I'm getting choked up here a little bit. One was friendship. We all had great friends like these guys and you all in the audience that meant a lot to us. The other one was we had students here, well, students that we really cared about. And we had faculty and teachers here that meant a lot to us. So that's all I'm going to talk about. One is get back to the cop jokes. John Song and I never forgot. John was my best friend in school. Some of you might remember that, some won't. But John and I will never forget. We stayed up all night one night working on extra credit problems for Miss Webster. The reason I say that's a good cop joke is we ate donuts all night. And Krispy Kreme, all night. And I don't think we got any points, John. I can't remember. It wasn't much, but I've never forgotten that about him and about that class. And it meant a lot to me. And it's the one thing that I think that stuck out in my mind about how we went to school here. We would work with each other and help each other. The other thing I remember was being pushed along by Mr. Kaplan, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown was like the brother you never had. Mr. Kaplan was like your father if you came in late or didn't get an assignment done. And I was always fearful of him, but Mr. Brown, I didn't mind talking to him about anything, but I will tell you this, Mr. Kaplan was a tremendous friend, and I'll never forget it. Then finally, Mr. Taylor. One thing I have to say about him is that I've never forgot the kindness that he showed us all. We sometimes forgot that as the principal. I guess we didn't come across him as much as our teachers, but when I was going to school here, my father was ill, very ill at one point, and I got pulled into the principal's office, Mr. Taylor. Sorry, I told you I get choked up. And he pulled me in and talked to me and told me if I had any problems or anything that he needed to discuss with me. And it was real heartfelt, and it meant a lot to me. I was having a real tough time when I went here with that. But because of that, that's one reason that I think I finished, and it made me the man I am today. And it helped me to go on further, to finish, and to go on to college and succeed in life. I've never forgot that, and it meant a lot to me. And I just want to thank you.
Well, I didn't prepare either. Well, I don't get a chance to do many of these public speaking engagements, and since Rupert talked me into this, you're all just going to have to live in punishment here with me for a minute. If you would, just pull that out. I want you to know, now, my mom's house a few years in the big flood here in Nashville got destroyed and wiped out by the flood. As a matter of fact, her house was bought out by FEMA. This 1986-87 Hume-Fogg basketball schedule some way escaped the flood, and she gave it to me, I guess about 3 months ago. And, you know, my mom's 80-something now, so she always brings over bags of old stuff of mine and, you know, like old report cards, which I don't really like to look at too much. But if you play basketball for Hume-Fogg, before you leave here, if you could come see me, because I want your autograph on this, okay? All right, so I'm going to talk about my experience at Hume-Fogg in just a minute. But first, I want to talk about my experience as a freshman, which led to me coming here. Some of you know I went to John Overton High School, and I want to talk to you all about that because a lot of the younglings from the class of '87 on down really didn't have a chance to experience a real high school. So, first of all, we rode a big yellow bus, and we didn't have to pay to ride it. On my first day of high school, one of the kids on the bus started to make fun of the way I dressed. Now, I know you're curious about that. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the way I dressed a little bit later. However, immediately one of the other kids on the bus said, hey, don't mess with him. That's Steve Lurie's little brother. See, my brother graduated from Overton the year before. Now, at that point, I wasn't sure what my brother had done, but it was good enough for me that his name invoked fear and respect. You see, my brother only shared certain events from his high school career. One of them was that he used to race my mom's Datsun B210. Now, if you remember that, that's got about 30 miles a gallon, little hatchback, and he used to win with that thing. Now, I don't care who you are, that's pretty funny. Now, back in 1981, 103.3 KDF was a rock and roll station, not country like it is now. And if I didn't know better, I would swear there were only top 10 songs, not top 20. I'm pretty sure that every fifth song played by KDF was My Angel is a Centerfold by the Joe Downs Band. And of course, that was the theme song for our bus, and everyone sang it in unison. On the first day of school, having arrived at school, the woman bus driver stood up and barked out the bus ride rules in her best Howard the Duck voice. She said, no fighting, no smoking, no cussing or swearing, no dipping or chewing tobacco, and if you get too loud, I'll shut the radio off after a second warning. Then she opened the doors and let us out. As we filed off into the sea of high school students, I looked back and there were 5 of the buses behind us. Okay? You remember how many students we had our first 2 years? Could have probably fit on one bus, maybe 2. So all the students were out there in the front, and then an epic moment occurred, which I like to entitle Bender Fights. Now, if any of you remember John Bender, played by Judd Nelson in The Breakfast Club, that's the scene of this guy, criminal element, kind of dressed, long hair. And immediately, a big ruckus arose out in front of the school. And the students encircled in a perfect 50-foot diameter circle. I've never seen anything like it. To this day, I've never seen anything like it. And they were all arm to arm, 2 to 3 deep. And I stood off from a distance, probably from here to the back of the auditorium. And I mean, these guys could fight. I mean, left jabs, right jabs. If you've seen Any Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood, where every time they jab, the guy's head snaps back, that's the way these guys were fighting. And you could hear it too. It sounded like claps of thunder every time they hit each other. Immediately, not too long after that, we saw a couple older gentlemen come out from the front of the building, and those were assistant principals. And I deduced from this that that's what assistant principals' jobs were back then, was to break up fights. And so they stood up in the ring, but they didn't come in too quick, because after all, it's very important to see who won. And immediately, Bender came up and body, right, power right after a quick left jab, knocked the other guy down, and just like we have in National Predators hockey, when they hit the ice, the principals moved in and grabbed these guys. So, after the big fight, school was open. We went to class, but school had not started. Let me explain a few things here at John Overton High School. We didn't get textbooks for 2 weeks. So, we didn't get lockers because we didn't have textbooks. What, you ask, did we do when we went to class? Any of those classes, we just mostly watch movies. Lots and lots of movies. One teacher brought a great big paper Kroger bag of popcorn and let everybody in the class have some. However, there was one class we were able to start with. That was art class. My instructor being none other than Jonathan DeFries. How to see a show of hands, how many remember Jonathan DeFries? Fairly soon in the year, Mr. DeFries identified myself and Laura Bell as his top 2 art students. Mr. DeFries soon thereafter convinced me to take art, become a commercial artist, and co-op my senior year to work. Some of you may not know what co-oping is. Co-oping is where you go to school in the morning for a few classes and then you go to a real job the rest of the day. Okay? Just skip class. So the stage was set for my high school career. I was going to play baseball and become a commercial artist. Oh yeah, baseball. Some of you may not know that baseball was my sport. In fact, I never played another organized sport until I came to Hume-Fogg. But before I digress into sports and athletics, I know you're curious about my dress funny comments I made earlier. But back in the day, there were not as many places to go buy clothes as there are now, and sensible parents took their children to none other than Kmart. Now, my mom loved Kmart, and Kmart brands like Trax 2 Trax tennis shoes. Tennis shoes. Now, Tough Skins had great knee protection, and I'll tell you now, I think they were definitely fireproof, the knees in those things. It might have been bulletproof as well, but there's only one problem with those. They only came in certain colors, and none of them were blue. They had brown, red, tan, and of course, my favorite color, green. This is where things get interesting. The funny way I dressed was about to collide with John Bender. You notice I'm flipping these cards faster. That's right, after skipping the first week of class to smoke weed behind the football stadium, Bender showed up for my first period science class. You see, Bender had been held back a few times. And he was taking freshman science with me. Now take one guess as to who became my lab partner. That's right, Bender. And he assured me that we were going to be the best of friends and everything was okay. And that he knew my brother and that they were close friends. So I went home to ask my brother, hey, do you know this guy, Bender? Yeah, I know that guy. Matter of fact, we got in an argument about some girl and I beat him up in front of the whole school. Then I kind of knew that, hey, now I see where all this brotherly capital is coming from with my brother. Now I was beginning to understand a lot of things about Overton. And Bender and I got along great. As a matter of fact, he really appreciated my fashion sense and referred to me affectionately as Mr. Green Jeans. Oh, y'all remember Mr. Green Jeans from Captain Kangaroo? So we tried to set the school on fire. And just in case you're about to fall asleep, that's right, Bender in science class. Only 2 mothballs on the Bunsen burner, I told Bender. He added 5. Bender, the Bunsen burner needs to be on low. He cranked it on high. Just so you all know, mothballs are flammable. Flames came out everywhere. Okay, start right here. Okay, here we go. Let me get right here. Okay, so I just can't read what that. Okay, so anyway, long story short, I tried out for baseball. I didn't make the team. Jonathan DeFries convinced me to come to Hume-Fogg, where he was going to come and continue my dream of being a commercial artist baseball player. Now, we got a big packet of information once I got accepted to Hume-Fogg, which was really shocked me. And in that packet of information was a reading list. Top of the reading list was A Tale of Two Cities. Great big book. Didn't have any picture pages. Hold on. Oh. Okay, here's the part about Hume-Fogg. So, we came to school over here. There's about 70 to 80, other suckers that came from high school. And after about a few weeks, all kinds of other things. Anyway, can I do the thank yous? I just want to thank Alan Kaplan and Bill Brown and the faculty administration here for a wonderful experience. You made my adult education and business life a huge success. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Okay. Hint, hint. The rest of the speakers for the rest of this evening. Hint, hint. Okay, now I'd like to call, let's do Julie. Julie Hamilton Williams, class of 1987. Julie was in the Ecology and Wilderness Organization. She was in the math club, the Spanish club. She was one of the cheerleaders who used to cheer for us when we used to get beat down mercilessly. Her favorite subject was art with Mr. DeFries. She earned her BS in elementary education in 1991 from Tennessee Tech and her MA from Tennessee Tech in 2012. And she currently teaches elementary education in the Nashville Public School System. She married her high school sweetheart from another school. Hey. And she has 3 kids, and Julie's just a wonderful person. She just really embodies what I remember, just embodied a wonderful spirit in terms of school pride, school spirit, and just a wonderful quality human being. So, Julie, the mic is yours, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'm so glad to see everyone this evening, and I will keep this short. When we started Hume-Fogg